All right, hello and welcome to the postgrad year. We're going to be talking about the Commonplace book, or, Commonplace binder. Except, we're actually talking about Commonplace book information. We're going to be talking about my system. Not my system. Everybody else's my system titles for Commonplace books. All right, so there are three main pages for this. This is the first one. This is the second one. And this is the third one. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through the data, explain all of it, and we're going to talk about it. Except, we're not going to talk about it. Feel free to leave some comments so we can talk about it there via text. But yeah, now I'm going to read through the key terms on the left-hand side, and then we're going to just fully read through it. So this is for a Commonplace book, My System. How, diary, flip through, setting up, writer, unexplainable, starting, completed, decorating, other. Now, many of these are very unusual because the number of items that I categorized into this section is a lot larger than normal, like a lot larger. So in the previous video, I believe I was looking through 22. But now we're going to start at the beginning. There were 62 items, but now there are 63, just because I was doing some stuff on the computer. I'm going to delete the least viewed thumbnail, thus bringing the total down to 61, because I delete whatever is the worst performing thing, and it just helps improve the data. Deleted number 457. That's how you know it's a huge section. Because if I break it down into 10 different pieces, you have a 10% chance of having the lowest number video there. And yeah, 457. Wow. Out of 470. So deleted 457 due to looking like it has nothing to do with the category and is D&D rather than stationary. So I think that's one of the French D&D videos. Might be somebody else D&D stuff, but no hate on anybody. It's good to have a multitude of things, but that's I deleted it because it was near the bottom, and it looks like it was about D&D rather than stationary. So, just guessing on what it was. Although I think I know. So now making the subcategories. So remember, these are listed based on when they first appeared, and that could be the one video all the way at the beginning and then the one video all the way at the end. It might have the same title, and then I would simply combine them. Because what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the first word that pops out to me, or the first general feel, and then writing a word for that. That goes at the beginning. I write down the number of items that were sorted into that subcategory, and then I talk about either the top video for that subcategory or a generalization of all the videos in that subcategory. So now it's been like 4 minutes. We're just going to get into it. So subcategory number 1, how, 3 items. And the thumbnail was a large white text which says a question to intrigue and simplify the title. Don't really understand that. So there was large white text which says a question to intrigue or simplify the title. Yeah, how my system. Maybe how my system does something, makes my life easier, makes me lots of money, helps me keep up with school. I'm not really sure what it was about. So that one's kind of useless, sorry. But generally speaking, the word how does pretty good in titles because people want to know how and they want to know why. Second is a rather unusual item. Also, what's unusual is how only has 3 items. We're looking at 62. And the first category only had 3? Did I screw up here? You know what I'm saying? Like, how must do really well. So I guess how my system, or yeah, that's really the only one that makes sense, because if it's my system, like, where else are you putting the how? Maybe there are a whole bunch of words in there when talking about Commonplace books. I don't know, but how It's probably really good. And what's really weird is the second one only has one item. So subcategory 2 is diary, one item. The thumbnail is 2 shots of the Commonplace notebook they use, but with a diagonal line. And yes, the standard white text edited on top. So pretty much everybody uses white text. It just looks very academic. And that's, mostly the sort of thing that people are doing here. We've got people trying to make things pretty, and we've got basically PhD students, and that's about it. So it's a little weird that I'm here because, I want to talk about education, but I'm not a college degree holder, and I'm not trying to make everything look pretty. So it's kind of like, who are you? What do you want? What are you doing here? We can get to that, but not for this video. Now we need to go on to subcategory number 3, flip through. The only one that makes sense number-wise so far, because there are 12 items. So, out of 62 items, the third thing has 12 items. That makes sense. So people love seeing a flip through, especially if it's more personal. So if it's flip through my system, or my system a flip through, or, a flip through of my Commonplace book. Yeah, you don't even have to say system after that. Well, actually, no, it is my system. So a flip through of my Commonplace book system, I suppose. But yeah, there are 12 items for this. So those are very similar titles, and they just keep happening. So, it could also be how I made my Commonplace book and a flip through of my system. Like, flip through is mentioned, but it's not necessarily the only thing. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, so 12 items. The thumbnails look much older than most stuff in this category. Or I guess the first one looks much older than the stuff in the category. Actually, used materials rather than Instagrammable. Old but useful vibe. That's interesting. So it looks like what works for my system is what works. Yeah, like if you're showing someone what you actually do, it's supposed to look real, it's supposed to look raw, it's supposed to look genuine. That'll just do better, apparently. Which makes sense. And this is the sort of thing that I like to learn when I'm actually reviewing everything. Because, it's nice to just be able to churn out videos, but I want the titles to make sense, and I want them to be related to things. And this sort of information is really helpful, because I know sometimes the focus is to make something look pretty or make it functional. And it looks like if you're doing a flip through of your system is supposed to look functional. And that's great. But we're going to turn to the next page. Yeah, 14A to 14B. Number 3 to number 4. So we're looking at subcategory 4 now. Setting up with 4 items. Just a little low. I'm not really sure what's going on here. But, that happens. So setting up. 4 items. Thumbnail does better when it looks like it's in progress. Motion over stillness. So if you're actually setting the thing up, it looks better when you're titling it setting up. Again, no-brainer, but really good to probably read, process, or understand. But yeah, if you're saying setting up my system, you should show yourself setting up your system. Number 5, writer. 4 items. Thumbnail, better to show the materials or pictures of the ideas than just random text on screen. Again, same sort of concept. If you want to say, like, I am a writer, well, you should probably show yourself writing, or at least getting the materials to do some writing with. Or, maybe it's my system as a writer. That makes sense. Or my Commonplace book system as a writer. Or how writers use Commonplace books and my system. Like you could just keep coming up with new titles. But yeah, in terms of writer, my system, and Commonplace books, you just want to make it look like you're actually the writer. Subcategory 6, unexplainable. I don't think it was listed as unexplainable. I think that's something I wrote down because I was like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Which means this is probably going to be a little aggressive in terms of whatever I've written. So we'll see. Subcategory 6, unexplainable, 9 items. Thumbnail, the more of a person in their room not knowing how to explain their thoughts, but being on camera like a vlog is best for this. So I think for all the things that I couldn't figure out how to categorize or didn't make any sense, I just lumped them all in one blob, probably because one of them, popped up before everything after this, and I was just like, well, all right, first one, good. The rest of them, I don't know what's happening. Subcategory 7, starting. So that's always a popular one. It's just, how do I do the thing? Why do I do the thing? How do I start? Like, it is another how-to, but it's actually about starting. Like, it's about doing the thing. I want to do it. Right. Subcategory 7, starting. 4 items. Thumbnail. Should actually look like someone is starting with the materials, sitting there waiting to be used, rather than a finished product. Yeah, if you're talking about starting, it doesn't mean completed. So it means how to start, not how I did start, Although, that could also be interesting. Subcategory, number 8. Completed. 2 items, thumbnail. Should look wrapped up or sealed rather than partially opened. That one's kind of weird. So I guess when it's completed, someone wants it to look kind of like after you finished a book. You like close up the book. It's done. That's interesting because I wouldn't have necessarily thought that if it has to be completed, it's supposed to be closed. Because sometimes you might want to leave it open because it's like, look at some of the stuff I did. But I guess people just want it totally sealed. Kind of makes sense. I feel like it'd be really easy to trick people with that because you could just have a thumbnail which is closed, not actually have anything in it, and be like, completed Commonplace book, and then talk about how you're going to actually complete it. That's a little scummy, but I think somebody might do that. It feels like you're kind of setting yourself up to be clickbaited. Although that's what people click on, so whatever. We're looking at number 8, and now we're looking at number 9. Decorating. 4 items, thumbnail. Avoid having random different color text, as it feels like a way to scam old people. Yeah, I guess I must have just been thinking about scams, because scam was not listed on the last page or the previous page, but it was listed here. So when I was looking at the beginning of all the Commonplace book stuff, it seemed like some stuff was just designed to mislead or get money out of people. Yeah, and it looks like the first one for decorating was just a way to get money out of old people. Which is unfortunate, but that does happen because people need money, and generally speaking, the older someone is, the more time they have had to accumulate their wealth. Although if they're like 100, they've probably spent it already. So don't think those are the people who are trying to scam. Maybe they are. I'm not really sure. But we have a big problem here. Number 10 is other, and there are 18 items. So it looks like we got to 10 categories, or I got to 10 categories, and I was just like, you know what? This is enough. I don't need to break it down anymore, because if you're making something that's beyond the 10th category, what are you even doing? Like, just make something that actually functions. So I could have broken that down, but it looks like I just wrote that as irrelevant, because it's like, look, there are over 60 items. There are 18 at the end. Don't worry about that. Worry about all the things beforehand. Make them work. Maybe mix them up together. And you'll do a great job. So just ignore all the stuff at the very beginning. Or all the stuff at the very end. My computer screen turned off. And that means it's time to end the video. So thank you for watching for probably 14 minutes. Might edit some out of here and make it 12 minutes, which would be kind of cool. But don't want to chop it up too much, because people seem to value at least a little bit of authenticity in the more book-related part of YouTube. So I'm going to turn this off. Thanks for watching. All right, bye.